short-term training program on future trends in research methodology for drug discovery and development. On day 3 of this STTP, we have with us Dr. Biren N. Shah, Professor and HOD, Shree Naranjibhai Lalbhai Patel College of Pharmacy, Bardoli, Surat, Gujarat. Before starting on for the lecture series, I would like to introduce our speaker to the participants who are faculties from various colleges across the country. Professor Biren N. Shah is presently working as Professor Sri Naranjibhai Lalbhai College of Pharmacy, Bardoli, Gujarat. Sir did his PhD from Sumandeep Vidyapeeth, deemed to be University Piparia, Vadodara. Sir did his M.Pharm from Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences, Bangalore in 2005 with specialization in pharmacognosy, followed by B.Pharm from Pune University in 2002. Sir has many international and national publications to his credit, with number ranging from 55, that is international publication, and 18 national publications. Presently, he is professor at Sri Naranjibhai Lalbhai College of Pharmacy. His awards includes the Lifetime Achievement Award from ABI USA and Best Teacher Award by the Association of Pharmacy Professionals USA. Sir has many research grants and in industrial consultancy to his credit. And with these words, I request Sir to please proceed with the lecture series. Sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Shukla sir, for this introduction. So in last few days, all the participants has did so many things regarding research and development. But with the similar importance of the research and development of new drugs, it is also required that how we have to present our research. So this is the alarming reality of research and writing skills in education. We know that number of times we have done the research, but we are not that much good to represent that. And due to this cutthroat competitions, this is a wake-up call for all the teachers, for all colleges and career readiness, that this is the high time to improve our skills for writing. Because there are more than 80% school students are graduating, but few of them are ready for the college and workforce. Why? Because it indicates that 55% of the college presidents reported an increase in the plagiarism over last 10 years. And out of these 80% students who are graduated, only 27% of high school seniors were considered proficient in writing. So writing is much more important thing, and why it is required in academic settings. As we know, all of us has to write somewhere, sometimes some reports, essay. Even we can include the emails and letters to the different bodies. So any students in a high-level institution will be usually required to write a variety of dissertations, papers, and essays throughout the whole period of their studies. And this writing task and assignments will cover a myriad of goals, objectives, and purposes. Sometimes this assignment can be written just by displaying and sharing personal experiences or previously acquired knowledge, which we can say is a non-effective research. But other times, essays will require extra efforts and additional research and the use of external resources. Still, we are confused that how to write and what to write, and why these writing skills are needed. Because sometimes you as a student will be required to write an essay in a limited period of time. So if the time is limited, we are running here and there and write the things which are grammarly or in a scientific manner irrelevant. So irrespective of the actual assignment, understanding what is good writing and what are the proper techniques to use will lead you to be able to produce a well-crafted essay in a shorter time. Good writing is also an important skill that translates into any career field. Many of the people have experienced that now freshers are coming and join as a teacher, but they are not good in a writing skills or in communication skills. Nearly all professions require some form of writing in all business fields or in our education fields. That is either emails, letters, reports, or any written communication for client, co-workers, suppliers, and other content. So for that, writing is then an important skill to acquire. So the first question comes arise in our mind that what process do you use? What should be the strategy of writing? What is the process of writing an academic paper? And how the structure of academic writing should be. We have lots of ideas in our mind, but we cannot pen down that ideas into the good paper. So the first of we have to think that how do you organize your ideas? Because the organization of idea is much more important to construct a good paper. So first we have to collect the information that what is required to write the particular letter or essay of the dissertation. We require the definitions, recent examples, personal views, why it is interesting. Then a debate in literature. So always debate around two sides, argument of one side and on another sides. All the consequences we have to gather. This is just a simple process by which you can submit any kind of letter or your dissertation. Then what is the subject of the essay and what are the instructions? Then you should have to do the elementary research and brainstorming. Then first you have to prepare your rough draft. Then in that rough draft, do the deeper and detailed research, refine your draft again, refinalize your draft, then reflection, proofreading, and final review. And after that, we have to submit our report. So the question arises, if any letters has to be write, any dissertation has to be write, from where I will start? Because starting is the main problem. So to start anything to write, you write or you start with the research. But what should I have to write? What should I have to include? So once you know the scope and the subject of the task, it's time to start researching. So again the question arises, where to start? Where to do the research? So mostly the research includes three things: that what are the credible resources, where to find them, and how many resources I have to use. So let's see. A credible resource. A credible source for academic writing is one whose accuracy is supported by academic peer review and reference to a foundation of relevant established research. That is a source with a solid authority within its discipline. You simply cannot, based on some folk things or some verbal things, it should be some solid authority of its discipline that make it a credible source. So the credible sources are like your textbooks, book published by recognized author and publishers. So many times we have taken a reference from such kind of books which are not recognized authors or which do not have a recognized publishers, a simple local publisher groups they are using, it should be avoided. Then paper published in scientific journals of having impact factors. Scholar and official website. Do not take the references from the Google itself. Take the references from any official websites which are regularly updated. Showing examples of the extension.edu, .edu.in, or any other government websites, and scientific and scholar database. Recently, in the time, the students are using Google as their master research. And whatever the first result came, that is the credible source for them. So we should have to avoid that. We should have to teach the students that Google is not that much credible resources. So credible source is reviewed by experts in the field and cites the sources, in turn uses to generate and supports its argument. For example, Wikipedia. Wikipedia, for example, is not a credible source. Even if a given article may be completely and verifiably true, but there is no academic authority present to validate its truth. No doubt, this Wikipedia can be used as a starting point, not to support your thesis statement. You have to determine what content will you look for in these credible sources to research your topic and to make yourself an expert in this one. Now, the number of needed resources depend on the type of paper, what you have to write. It may vary from 5 to hundreds. But you should have to research or you have to do the reference of at least 5 books. During research, start saving interesting sources and taking notes and summarize the attention, grabbing thoughts. Try to immerse yourself in the literature published recently. What we are doing is we are taking the reference of the things that has been done previously over 20 years back, and still we are taking the same references. But if possible, take the reference which are published recently. After doing the research, you have to do the brainstorming session. So many things you have done, so many research you have done, you have noted down the various points. Now the brainstorming session, that what should be included and what should not be included. The purpose of brainstorming and critical thinking is to be able to make better decisions and choices for your paper. Use brainstorming for increased awareness and searching for deeper and cleaner understanding. But brainstorming sessions should not be that deeper or that vast that may confuse you that what to write and what to not write. Because if it is a confuse you cannot be able to pen down whatever the topic you have decided to write. After brainstorming, make a thesis statement. That is, either you can say it is a topic of your dissertation. So the thesis statement announces the topic of your essay or dissertation and what you want to say about it. So again the question arises, what makes a good thesis? How can we choose the topic? So good thesis statement must be a statement, not a question mark. Must be a complete sentence. And it is an opinion and shows intent. It cannot be a simple statement of fact. And should have only one guiding idea. Should have to write in a general way that does not indicate the proper idea of your statement. Choose the main idea and pin it down in a clear statement. This has to be well summed up in a concise sentence, allowing the reader to know where you are going and why you are going. thesis statement should be specific and not too general. Otherwise, you will have to write a lot of content to support it. Look, these all steps are interconnected with each other. If you make a general thesis statement, you have to write so many things to cope up with that statement in your body. So unless you are writing a long essay, this should be avoided. However, a thesis statement should not be too specific either, because you probably won't be able to write enough about it, and finding sources to support will be hard. Now, to sum it up, a thesis statement express your viewpoint on a subject, introduce and anchors your arguments, should be stated explicitly in your introduction and conclusion, should be validated by providing evidence in your essay. After making this, you should have to make a draft regarding how you can proceed further. A draft is a preliminary and initial effort form of your essay or dissertation, and it is going to be a subject to revision, amendment, refining, etc. So when you're writing your first draft, don't worry about your introduction. Pick the way that is most comfortable for you, either on location or by PC2 or by handwriting. You just make a draft that in which way you are about to go. Write your first draft as rapidly as you can to avoid writer's block and bracket those sections you cannot write here. Try to finish a draft of the whole essay. After writing or a draft, you have to go for the first proofreading. The most problematic thing in this electronic era. Now, in the simple language, we are using the WhatsApp languages. For Y or U, we are writing U only. This should not be come when we write of scientific papers. So proofreading means examining your essay cautiously to spot and correct mistakes in grammar, style, and spelling. No doubt there are so many online tools are available, but the tool which has been fitted in our mind does not compete with anyone. So there are online tools, but it is better to do it yourself. Be sure you have reviewed and brushed up the most important aspect of your content. Don't make corrections at the sentence and word level if you still need to work on the focus, organization, structure, and overall writing of the paper. So many times when we start writing, after a few days we confuse what to write, what not to write. And when we go for the proofreading, we cannot get the corrections, or we cannot get the mistakes. So to make it comfortable, please keep your draft for a few hours or few days aside. Leave your paper aside for a while, either a few hours, few days, between writing and proofreading. Because some distance from the content will help you see mistakes faster and more easily. Eliminate unnecessary words before looking for actual mistakes. Write short, clear, concise, and direct sentences. Also, from the previous comments of your professors on old papers, set a list of mistakes you need to watch for. But unfortunately, we are not penning down the mistakes in the old papers. And we are in that much hurry that we are writing without proofreading. After doing all these things, you can say now you are really ready for the actual proofreading of the paper, essay, or dissertations. Start proofreading on a printout of your documents. This is the most critical things I have came down to face, that students are now giving the online copy on the soft copy, sir. But make a habit, and make a habit to students also, that for proofreading, you submit the printout copy only, because the mistakes which we can observe by our naked eye is better than to observe in a soft copy. So start proofreading or printout of your document before going back to on-screen editing. By doing this, read out loud to spot run-on sentences and hear other problems that you may not see while reading silently. Go back to your text editor on your computer to use the spell check and search functions to find mistakes you are likely to make or to correct the spelling of a word you wrote incorrectly many times. At this stage of proofreading, the list of common mistakes which you have made can be helpful here. Once finished, print again the document for a final proofread. If you have a wisely respected previous steps, you will only find few things to correct or adjust. And this process will help you write better content in the future too. Now the main part, that is introduction of the thesis. The introduction is play a very vital role in any draft, because this introduction contains a very interesting questions or facts which attract the readers. Otherwise, what we are doing is, in any research paper, we just only read the abstract and leave it. We are not bothered to read about the introduction, because that introduction does not contain any interesting facts. The readers are not getting attended. So your introduction should be in such a way that it should attend or attract the readers. It should be a brief statement. Connect the first sentence to the thesis statement. It should be connected with your topics and state the main ideas of the essay. It signals the topic in an interesting way. It should announce the main points of the paper. It includes your thesis statement, and its length should be proportional to your full paper, but not too long. Otherwise, students are doing the things that out of the 80 pages of thesis, 40 pages are of introduction. Irrelevant material has been added in the introduction. An introduction should attention grabbing and can give a glimpse about how you are going to support your thesis. An introduction should not present background or a general factual information, nor start with a dictionary definition, a clinch, a general truth, or a grand generalization. Now, the main body. The importance of main body you can see here. This is a delicious burger, but this burger is not having that much delicacy if main body or the tikki or what are the other masalas are not present in it. Then it is simply a bun. So the main body is very much important. It should contain a topic sentence. So how to write the main body? We are simply writing it in a number of ways, but the main body should start with a topic sentence, then 2 or 3 sentences that supports your topic, and lastly there should be a concluding sentence for each paragraph that will conclude your discussion on that particular paragraph. Depending on your paper instruction and length, the number of paragraphs in main sections varies from 1 to several paragraphs. Oh, this is a delicious hamburger with number of paragraphs in the main body. As I told, that first point should be a topic sentence, should present the claim or claims that you will support and develop in the rest of the paragraph. Remaining part should be supportive statement. Either it will be a specific facts that support the claim or claims that appear in the topic sentence and explain how each fact logically support the claim. And the last line is end with a transitional sentence that shows how the main idea in this paragraph is logically related to the main idea in the next body paragraph. So what we can put in the main body? It should be a historical background, the current mainstream versus alternative theoretical viewpoints, possible approaches to the subject, and current state of research studies. The main body will generally contain paragraphs about definition of your word and concept, major issues and question arise, major theories to answer those questions, techniques, methodologies, and method used. As usual, this depends again on your paper instruction. Now, the next thing comes, that is conclusion. Conclusion is very important thing. We have seen that hamburger, but this hamburger is not that much outstanding without its bottom bun. So conclusion is the bottom bun of your whole thesis. If it is strong, it can hold the whole hamburger. So this conclusion should be echo of the main idea. But please don't repeat it with the thesis statement. It should be a brief statement, connect the restate thesis to the last sentence. It should be interesting question, fact, and the conclusion should leave reader with something to think on. After reading that conclusion, the reader should think that what we can do next or in future to make it more convenient. So the conclusion state to the readers that you are winding up and preparing to finish off your paper. So in the conclusion, it is advised to rephrase the thesis statement along with the main ideas of the paper. The conclusion should include, or the conclusion should be a logical wind up to what has been previously discussed. Never contain any new information unless it is a question or a future perspectives. Usually, it is the shortest part of the essay and add to the overall quality and impact of the essay. But this conclusion should not include just a summary and with a long quotation. Just focus on minor points of your argument. It should not introduce new material. The conclusion has to be tied together the various issues enclosed in the body of the paper and to comment on the meaning of the whole writing. For example, implications resulting from your arguments. What are the future perspectives? What are the recommendations, trends, and what might need further research to improve this paper? So now, after writing all this part of the body, the main thing comes, and what I would like to talk with you, because in the hurry of this time, we are doing so many times, or students are doing so many times, the only thing is cut, copy, and paste. There should be no big idea. There should be no big idea because plagiarism is a trust. Trust is like a paper. Once it is crumbled, it cannot be perfect again. There are mainly three types of research misconduct: plagiarism, fabrication, and falsification. So many times we are talking about only the plagiarism, but other two parts are fabrication and falsification. We are well known aware about the plagiarism, that it is an appropriation of another person's idea, process, results, or other words, copying without giving appropriate credit. But the fabrication is making up the results and recording or reporting them. And falsification means it is a manipulating research materials, equipments, or process, or changing or omitting data or results, such that research is not accurately represented in the research record. The act or instance of using or closely imitating the language and thoughts of others, or even yourself from older works, and presenting the work as one's own new original work without not crediting the original author or work is called plagiarism. These are one cartoon characters. Every time when we are doing plagiarisms, our inner souls will definitely click. So here it's written, oh no, I forgot to do my science fair project and it's due tomorrow. So he think that I can reuse the same project which I have did in the last years. Who is going to know? But your inner soul will always tell you that it is called as the plagiarism. You are cheating yourself. To cheat the others, that is a different thing, but to cheating yourself is never give you a satisfaction of your paper or your project. So stop plagiarisms. Please do not do the copy and paste work because it is not your dream. To write a good paper and to get the credential of it, please avoid cut, copy, paste. The plagiarism can have serious consequences. In later on, we are going to see how these plagiarisms can be very dangerous. Be original and don't be plagiarized. For example, I will tell you that the president of Hungary, Mr. Stanley, he has to quit his presidential seat in 2012 as a president of Hungary because his doctorate thesis has been reported as a plagiarized. And due to that, he has resigned from the post of president of Hungary. Another example, according to the Hindustan Times in 2016, Vice Chancellor Chandra Krishnamurthy of the Pondicherry University has to quit her job after a prolonged standoff with the HRD ministry following allegations that she plagiarized large part of one of her books. And the recent examples of plagiarisms that can make consequences, all we know that these two powerful ladies, that is Melania Trump, wife of ex-US President Donald Trump, and this Michelle Obama, wife of ex-US President Barack Obama. US President Donald Trump's wife, Melania Trump, found herself in an online plagiarism when her speech at the Republican National Convention in 2006 sounded similar to a speech by Michelle Obama in 2008. Trump's speech contained both examples of cloning. The cloning means copying passage word for word, And find and replace, plagiarism. That is copying a passage but changing a few keywords. The Turnitin has found it. Let's see some video of the speech.
Sir, is some video being played in background?
Yes, sir.
Sir, actually it is not audible.
Okay. So there was a video regarding how the speech was plagiarized by Melania Trump, the same speech which Michael Obama has been speak. So whatever you copy or whatever you write, just give the citation to them and use the references. So what are the sources that can be taken for the references? That a source is any person or content from which you get information that you use in your content. Either scholarly journals and books, either online printed, websites or any other content, newspapers and magazines, a colleague or a classmate you ask, or a folk persons you can ask, a tribal people, or a television show that you can use as a source. Now, what is a citation? A citation simply means clearly giving credit, where credit is due and tells the readers where the information comes from. In your paper, you cite or refer to the source of information. Then what is reference? If citation is there, what is reference? Reference gives the readers detail about the source so that they understand what kind of source it is and how to find the source themselves if necessary. The references are typically listed at the end of the writing. Now, a good citation. Good citation indicates the author, title, and publication information for the used source. Which words, ideas come from which source. When you shift from your own words and ideas to the ones of another, include source, writer's name, and signal place, either your citations or footnote or endnote quotations. But sometimes there are common knowledges are there, which does not require a citation. Common knowledge is a well-known fact or an information that appears in several known sources. For example, Riyadh is the capital city of Saudi Arabia that everybody is known. Cell nucleus contains DNA, water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. This common knowledge does not require any citations. But still, you have to keep in mind that if the idea, did you think of it? If yes, then there is no need of citation. But if you did not think that idea, then you have to think, is it a common knowledge? If yes, no need of citation. But if it is not a common knowledge, you have to cite it. Why citing sources are important? For the sake of honesty and to give due credit to the person who has worked for it. To show that research and conduct are credible, to prove that relevance or importance of the topic, and to help readers identify further sources. Now, why people are plagiarized, why they are doing the plagiarism? Because we don't know why it is important to cite sources. हम लोग को लगता है कि भाई अगर साइटेशन नहीं किया तो क्या फर्क पड़ेगा, बट अगर हमारा ही पेपर कहीं यूज हो रहा है और अगर साइटेशन नहीं देते हैं तो व्हाट द फीलिंग वी आर गेटिंग, द सेम फीलिंग we get by researcher who have done that work. One more time, we lack confidence in our own ideas and language, and that's why we are just doing the plagiarism. We actually cannot answer the writing assignment, or the main thing, we cannot know how to use the citations. These are different medical language association, APA, different type of citations process are there. We don't know, that's why we are not doing it, and generally because only we are plagiarized that particular citation. This plagiarism can be intentionally or unintentionally. Very good software, that is Turnitin, has divided this plagiarism in 10 different topics in 2012. That is a clone, control copy, find and replace, remix, recycle, hybrid, mashup, 404 error, aggregator, and retweet. Let's see one by one. What is clone? Clone means submitting another words word for word as one's own. Here you can see the examples I have taken. On the left hand side, the source text, and on the right hand side, that is a student work. The same word to word copy, and that is called as a clone work. Then second is control and copy. It contains significant portion of text from a single source without alterations. Find and replace. This is the most things we are doing in our routine life. That changing keywords and phrases, but retaining the essential contents of the source. Or here you can see that since its first discovery by non-indigenous, just changing the word indigenous to the non-native, that people in the mid-19th century, so only this text 19 has been converted into the numerical, that is 19th century. This is a find and replace kind of plagiarisms. Then remix. That is a paraphrases from multiple sources made to fit together. Sentence from different texts has been combined together and make a remix statement, which also considered as the plagiarism. And recycle, that is borrows generously from the writer's previous work without citation. Number 6 is a hybrid. Combines perfectly cited sources with a copied passage without citation. So this whole paragraph has been copied from here, but in the middle there are something has been written which is not obtained from this particular source. Whatever the citation he has made, but this is not of that particular resources. This is called as the hybrid plagiarism. Then mashup, that is mixes copied material from multiple sources. 404 includes citation to non-existence or inaccurate information about the source. Aggregator includes proper citation to sources, but the paper contains almost no original work. Retweet includes proper citations, but relies too closely on the text, original wording, and or structure. But after 2012, the scenario has been changed drastically, and in this 10 type of different plagiarism has changed. And in 2020, again this plagiarism, Turnitin has divided this plagiarism spectrum into 12 types. That is student collusion, word for word plagiarism, self plagiarism, mosaic plagiarism, software based text modification, contract cheating. This is the most common things right now we are facing, that is contract cheating. So many companies or people are hiring on a contract, either a monetary or non-monetary. They will write your thesis, they will complete all your work, and you are going to submit that particular work on your own name. Then other plagiarism are indifferent plagiarisms, paraphrase plagiarisms, computer code plagiarisms, source-based plagiarism. Then due to this technical era, now the manual text modifications, different softwares they are used, the text spinning and text converter are software that are used to change the language and the word from the original text. At the same, it will be copied to avoid the plagiarism. And another is data plagiarism. So we should have to avoid this all kind of plagiarisms, and we have to take a pledge that I will not plagiarize another works. Find ways to prevent yourself from plagiarisms, because plagiarisms has done so much damage to your identity, to your future prospects. If we think that nobody is going to look after that I am doing the plagiarisms, but nowadays in this digital era, everyone is having an eye on everyone's research work, whether you are doing plagiarism or not. Being a reviewer or editor of a number of journals, we received so much of complaints that this paper has been plagiarized, or this paper has copied the data from this particular research paper. So everybody is looking at yourself. And once your identity has been lost, your original research is also having no worth, because always people are thinking that you have done the plagiarized work. So to avoid that, keep trying or keep making a habit to read as much as you can, because this reading is always a good idea, and books will take you the place where you want to be. I hope by understanding all these things, to develop the writing skills, the plagiarisms will be the past, and by writing in your own idea, it will make your future brighter and shining. The various sources that I have included, if I take a lecture on plagiarism and I do not cite, it will be not good. So these are the various citations that I have taken up. So I hope with this, concluding my today's talk regarding how to develop a writing skill and how to avoid the plagiarism, I hope everybody will consider these things as a serious matter, and please avoid plagiarism, improve your writing skills, and please translate these skills to your students, because if the skilled person are there, definitely a job and a future bright opportunities are there for students also and for our teachers also. Okay. So thanks a lot for your time and attention. Is there any questions for always welcome.
Thank you so much, sir, for your presentation. I now request participants if they are having any queries or questions, they may ask to sir. Sir, I have one doubt,
Yes,
one query.
yes.
So, what is the how effective paraphrasing can be done? If paraphrasing was also considered as a plagiarism, then how effective paraphrasing can be done?
So the paraphrase objective is to rewrite a statement. So when you want to do, am I audible?
Yes, audible.
Okay. So when you want to paraphrase is just make your own idea to write. Write it two more times, three more times, and then think that whether it is a grammatically correct or not, what is the main topic, what you want to tell, or what you want to write.
I think there is some technical issue with the speaker. Let us wait for some time if he rejoins.
Hello, hello,
Hello, hello, sir.
sir.
Ji, sir.
Okay.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So one more question I have,
Yeah.
that if we are writing a book, so what voice we need to prefer, either active voice or passive voice in writing the matter of various chapters?
When you write any chapter in your book, you should have to write in a passive voice.
Passive voice.
Yes.
Okay. And various plagiarism checker tools are there, or which are
Yes.
available online.
Yes.
So are those reliable if we check for preliminary checking of a document?
Definitely, the online tools are very good tools like Turnitin, we can say. Okay. They are very good to check the plagiarism online. But I suggest that if it is your own paper, then better to avoid copying the things from the
Ji.
another source. Or if you are copying or if you are writing down, make a citation of that particular source.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any other questions from any other participants? If they are having any queries, they may ask. I think, sir, there are no questions from the participant side. So I thank you very much for sparing your time and delivering such a nice presentation on how to write
Thank you,
and
sir.
what to write. Uh, Definitely, this presentation is will help the participants on how to write their thesis, on how to write their paper, and avoiding certain mm, topics like what is plagiarism and all. So, sir, thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Our next lecture of today's will be at 1:30 p.m. So all participants are again requested to rejoin this link at 1:25 p.m. Thank you.